Today I'm joined by Christa, who is generously sharing her fertility journey with us. These conversations are really important because they remind us that we're not alone and that every path, no matter how challenging or how off the path it may seem, it's valid, And so her question is something that weighs heavily with many women over 40. And that is, how do you keep the faith through negative tests and dismal statistics? So, Christa, let's start where you are. Can you
Hi.
share a little about your fertility journey and what brought you here, what's happening currently for you?
Sure. My journey started out very uniquely. I had gotten to the place in my life after being divorced and dating and not really finding anybody I had a connection with where I decided to just do it on my own. So I was 43. I went to a sperm bank and picked out the best sperm I could find and inseminated myself at age 43.
Oh, okay.
Um, I got pregnant immediately. I had never tried in my life to get pregnant. To be realistic, I was only really not drinking and taking a prenatal. I wasn't doing anything special, including dating anybody. And the funny story is that I actually met my current partner 2 weeks after the insemination. I didn't know I was pregnant yet, but I did about a week later. So you can imagine that was a very uncomfortable getting to know you question to talk to somebody about. So after long, heartfelt talks, we were going through this journey together. Unfortunately, I had a miscarriage at about 10 weeks. And if you do the math, that's still very early into a relationship. So after some giving our relationship some time to grow, some more deep conversations, we decided to start as a couple about 6 months into our relationship. So at this point, we've been trying for about a year and a half. We tried naturally for a little while, went to the doctors pretty quickly, did all the testing for the most part. My testing came out pretty normal, actually quite good for my age, and I'm 45 now. My partner did have quite a few problems with his semen analysis. The urologist ended up finding a varicocele. Luckily, it is not to the point where he needs to have surgery. So we are now pivoted to trying medicated cycles. That's where we are right now. If a medicated cycle doesn't work, the next step would be IUI. And as a couple, we decided that IUI would probably be the point where we would either continue trying naturally or switch to maybe donated embryos or maybe even adoption.
Okay. So then it goes back to your question about keeping the faith through the negative tests and
Yeah.
the statistics and stuff. Can you tell me more about how that shows up for you?
Well, there's so much going on in this journey, and I don't know if I was truly prepared for how much was going on. I mean, yes, there's lots of supplements, and yes, you have to, for the most part, you got to get the doctor involved, and that's all a lot. It's a lot on your pocketbook, and then at some point, I feel like you're doing and you're doing and you're doing and you're doing, but then it's like, but I'm getting a negative test,
Mhm.
or I'm not getting my baby. And so it just feels sometimes like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing to myself? But I know my goal and I know what I want. So I proceed forward. And there's some months when that negative test comes, or realistically, my menstrual cycle comes, that to me, it feels like okay, this is not the month. This is not it. This is not a no. This is just not yet. You keep going. But I would say that the majority of the months, I have that just day of just feeling just like the bottom barrel of low. And it's just working on that to try to not have that be something that I feel every month. If it's not, if the baby isn't coming soon, I need to get my mind to a place where I don't feel like I'm just suffering every single month.
Yeah. Okay, so you brought up something that's really commonplace where women lose faith because of the statistics, right? The negative tests, the period
Yeah.
coming every month. And the truth is, yes, at 45, the chances are statistically lower than, in your 20s and 30s. That's real. And we can't pretend otherwise. But lower doesn't mean zero. It doesn't mean impossible. I think you kind of were set up a little bit in the sense that you got pregnant like right out of the gate with the insemination and the sperm donor. And so you're like, oh, okay. So the expectation was like super high. It's like, oh, this is going to happen really quickly.
was.
And so there was a bit of a setup there that
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
quite meet
I,
reality. And
right.
so I just want to remind you and other women who are listening to this and who are feeling the same thing. Lots of women get pregnant in their 40s naturally. And it definitely doesn't mean that your story is already written. The deeper work isn't to deny the numbers, it's to not let them become your identity.
Right.
It's about staying connected to what's true for you, even when it takes longer than you thought. Because that's the other piece no one seems to understand, even the doctors, is at this stage of life, it does usually take more time. I mean, that's just going to be a fact of life. Your digestive system, your metabolism, they're slower.
Yes,
You're
they
not as fast as you were in your 20s or 30s. Your physiology is different, right? And it's not because anything's wrong, it's just because your body's moving differently now. So, this getting pregnant within a year goalpost, it's rather an arbitrary and artificial timeline that the medical system just kind of pulled out of nowhere because everyone is different, every woman is different, every body is different. So therefore, every timeline is going to be different. And we really have to come back to the knowledge and the trust that the body is wise, right? The body knows what it's doing. When you're 45, you can't force her into a pregnancy.
right.
You have to listen to your body, soften into her, and just ask, right? What do you need from me? What would it look like to honor your pace, not something that someone else has dictated to you and created all of this pressure? Yes, we understand that you want to get pregnant as soon as possible to start your family. Yes, we get that. But your body's on a different timeline than your
Exactly.
mind, you know?
Right.
And so you want to be able to honor her pace as well. Because just like we have some bad days and then other days are great when we're just feeling like full of energy, there are going to be other days where we're feeling sluggish and all we want to do is just be in bed and don't do anything, right? And your body's going to be the same way. Not every cycle is going to be, yay, I'm ready to get pregnant, you know?
Right.
It's unfortunate in the sense that you only really, out of each month, you only get a few days. And so if your body's feeling a little bit low in energy, then, that's going to be one of those months that isn't just going to be optimized, and it has to be okay. It has to be okay for you so that you're not going to punish your body or judge your body or blame your body for just not feeling that all that like wanting to do this amazing miraculous thing which takes a lot of energy, right?
Yeah.
And so it's really about softening into her and asking and listening to her. And and one of the questions too is, where have I been treating you like a machine?
Yeah.
Of that expectation is you got to pump it out every month like clockwork, and you have to be like ready to go when I want you to go, and instead of treating her like this just amazing wonder that she is, and just
Right.
really respecting and honoring that. So part of this work is really learning to quiet the noise, right? Of the stats that says it's too late and of the stories that you make up around a negative test or around your period coming. It's like, because women make up these stories about like, what's wrong? I'm getting closer to menopause. It's too late. Whatever it is that goes on in your mind, these are stories that you make up and you tie to the event because of your period coming. We're going to just assume it's an event. I'm presuming you're not doing a pregnancy test every month. Most people aren't.
Oh no, became traumatic. So no.
Oh, okay, yeah, because that would be overkill.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like, what do you tell yourself when your period comes? The event of the period coming is in and of itself is neutral. It's just your body doing its thing. In fact, it's great because, in fact, I encourage women to be like, yay, my body's doing its job.
Doing
You
what it's
know,
supposed to.
yeah, thank you for doing that. I would encourage women to think about it more in that, in with those lens rather than what's wrong. Because then those stories, right, the stories that you basically make up in your head, in your mind, right, with the statistics and stuff, and everything that comes as a result of those stats and stories, it gets internalized because, and you even said this yourself, and your period coming, a negative test doesn't mean it's never coming. It just means not this cycle.
Right.
That's it. Very neutral. There's no charge around that. And that's what I really encourage women to do, is to remove the emotion. I know it's hard. I get that. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying this is the process of removing the emotional factor of your period coming through. So this way you can traverse your journey with more ease and more emotional stability, because you can't do the roller coaster of emotions up and down every 30 days or 28 days or whenever your cycle is. It's a lot of stress on your body, right?
Yeah.
And it's just, you've got to keep that even keel of, oh, okay, my period's here. Got it. Try again next month. No big deal. And that's really, you got to just be able to brush yourself off and pick yourself up, and not even pick yourself up because that's assuming you fell down, but just brush it off and say, no problem. We have another month. Let's keep going. And you say the let's keep going as long as your heart's in it. It's like, yeah, you really want this, then keep going, right? If you stay true to your heart, you keep going, it's not an issue. What happens is with women, they create all of this head junk that gets in
Mhm.
the way with what the heart is saying,
Right.
right? Because we create so much meaning around each event in the journey, and we
Yeah.
start building a whole identity around not working. But sometimes your body just needs time. And that's fundamentally the issue, is just the lack of trust in the timing of it all, mainly because of what other people say. And so faith isn't about pretending it's easy, because it's not. And I get that. Faith is about choosing to stay with your truth, your heart, your vision, even when the fear and the doubt is nipping at you constantly. It's devotion. It's devotion to your body, a devotion
Mhm.
to your path, devotion to the vision that just keeps whispering, I'm still here. Keep going. Okay.